Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another day of science. Last week, we learned a little bit about the scientific method and how experiments are run. Now that we know how experiments are run, we need to take a look and find out how to safely conduct experiments. That's what we're going to do today. We're going to talk about some lab safety. What everyone is going to need is they're going to need a blank sheet of paper and coloring utensils. As we did last week, if you need to go grab those materials, pause the video and do that now. If you already have those materials ready to go, let's get started. All right, so you will have your piece of paper. All right, what I would like you to do is fold it in half, hot dog style, so you have a nice long piece of paper. Let's do that together. All right. Folded piece of paper. Once you have your piece of folded paper, make sure that your crease is on the left so it opens like a book. Then you are going to divide that piece of paper into 6 boxes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, you're going to be dividing it into 6 separate boxes. So you will need to draw 5 lines. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you mess up a little bit, that's okay. You can erase your lines and do it again. It will look like this. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines, which will give you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 boxes. All right. Once you have those drawn, you can cut along the line you just drew. And just like that, you will have a flip book. All right. We are going to use this flip book. Well, I think I was holding that the right direction, so the spine is on the left. What we're going to do is we're going to start by drawing pictures on the outside, and then on the inside, we are going to write a little bit about each picture and what tells us about safety. All right. For the first picture, I would like you to draw a caution symbol. All right. Give me a second. I will show you what that looks like. A caution symbol is very simple. It is a triangle with an exclamation point and caution written in the center. Okay. Below that, I'm going to have you draw a girl You're going to draw a girl with a ponytail. Now, I'm just drawing these quick to do an example. You guys can take your time and pause the video as you need to make your foldable look nice and with some great art on it. All right. After you draw your girl with a ponytail, you are going to draw a spill. All right, so you're going to pretend you spilled some water. All right. And draw a spill here, and then if you want, you can add, that's supposed to be a person. I go like that, like they just spilled something. Typically, I'm a better artist than this, but I'm just drawing it fast. So that's what I drew there. For the third one, draw a spill. Once again, if you need to pause the video to do your drawing, do it. All right. Next up, goggles. I'm just going to draw safety glasses because in the time I have, that'll be easier to draw than goggles. All right, so you can draw goggles or safety glasses, just some sort of eye protection. Just like that. Again, pause the video if you need to. Then, draw a piece of pizza. I like pepperoni pizza, so I'm going to add pepperonis on my pizza. Okay, so here, drew my piece of pizza. And the last thing you are going to draw is some science equipment. So like science beakers. So you have your beakers, you can add our measurement levels. All right, so your science beakers there at the bottom, okay? Now what you're gonna do is for each one of these, you're gonna flip it over and we are going to write a little bit of a definition for each one to go through and talk about the different science safety, the different safety parts or safety. Talk about how each one represents some sort of safe procedure that needs to be done in science. That sounds a lot better. All right. I'm going to flip over to a Google Doc to do this with you guys, just because it's going to be easier than trying to write and show you. But I will explain where you are going to write each one. Give me a second. Let me get this Google Doc opened up. All right, and then I will share my screen. It should be sharing now. Google's taking forever to load. There we go. All right, so on your foldable, here, I want to insert a table to make it a little bit easier for us. So it should be 6. All right. So this is this table has 6 parts, just like you have 6 parts on your foldable. So that very top one, where we drew the caution symbol, what you are going to write on this part of your flip book, where you flip it open, you're going to write there. You are going to write, when doing a science experiment, you can have fun, but always use caution. Right? Think ahead. So when you are doing a science experiment, think of any possible thing that could go wrong and avoid it. So for example, if you are working with some sort of liquid, think ahead, realize that, oh, I could potentially spill this. I need to be careful and not to bump it and knock it over. All right, using caution is just being smart, not doing anything that is unnecessary, okay? The next thing you are going to write under the flap that is the girl with a ponytail, you are going to write, long hair must be pulled back and long sleeves must be rolled up. So in underwear, you see the girl with the long hair, you are going to write this. Long hair must be pulled back and long sleeves must be rolled up. That should be pretty obvious. If we're doing a science experiment and you have long hair, make sure you pull it back. That goes for boys or girls. Long sleeves, if you have some sleeves that come down around your hand that could get in the way, get wet, get caught on something, make sure they're rolled up and out of the way. Next, the one with the spill, okay? You are going to write, if an accident happens, tell the teacher immediately. Okay. Now, going back to the one with use caution, all right? Even if we are as careful as we can be, accidents do happen in the lab. If something goes wrong, just pause, don't freak out, raise your hand and tell the teacher immediately. I realize that you are at home and you won't be able to tell the teacher, but your parents are there. If something goes wrong, tell your parents, okay? That is because adults will be able to safely clean up anything that goes wrong and make sure everyone stays safe, right? Next up is the safety goggles or safety glasses. Under that one is simple. You are going to write, wear safety goggles when needed. Now, this year, we aren't going to be doing anything that absolutely requires safety goggles. However, as you get older and you go to high school, you will be working with maybe some different chemicals or some things that if you get in your eyes, they could really hurt your eyes. So that's something that you need to keep in mind when doing science labs is there are times when you need to wear safety goggles. As you get older, they will be required, and no matter what you're doing for what lab, any lab, you will have to wear safety goggles. Like I said, this year, that's not something we're going to have to worry about because we're not going to be using anything that's going to actually hurt our eyes. Next up is the one with pizza. Under the flap that is the pizza, you are going to write, never eat or drink anything from or during a science activity. This is a very self-explanatory one. When we are doing a science activity, you should never be eating or drinking. That goes for the materials that we are using in the lab. If we're using some sort of pop or we are using Skittles or anything that's edible, if we're using it in the lab, should not be eaten. Also, while you are doing a lab, you shouldn't just be bringing in your own food and eating it because who knows what's on your hands while you're doing a lab, one. And two, if you accidentally eat something from the lab, that could not be good. It could be very dangerous. Last thing, under the one that says science, it has the science beakers. You are going to write, always use science equipment properly. So for this one, you shouldn't be throwing science materials across the lab. If it's a ruler, you should be using it for measuring, not a baseball bat. If you are using a scale, the scales that we'll be using this year are smaller, so they'll be for smaller objects. You shouldn't weigh yourself, though it's a scale and it's used for weighing materials. It's used for weighing smaller materials, not you. Okay, there are many different things that I could go through and talk about, but as we use the materials throughout the year, I will explain how they are to be used properly. You are only to use them in that way. Okay, so if you need to pause the video and finish jotting these down, please do so. What we're going to do next is, like we did last week with social studies and primary and secondary sources, we're going to go through and take a look at a PowerPoint where you will be telling me whether or not the picture is safe or not safe. Okay, so let's get that presented. Go back to the top. Okay, so this first picture here. In a second, I'm going to pause the video, and at the bottom of the screen, just like last week, there will be a question that pops up. You're just going to be telling me true or false. Is this safe? Is this a proper safety procedure? Right? So answer that question. Tell me true or false. This is not a proper safety procedure. You will very easily notice that this boy is running and his hair is on fire. Clearly, whatever he was doing, whatever experiment he was doing, he was not using caution. So this one is false. He was not. It is not safe. He was not using caution, right? Next, take a look at this emoji. Is he following safe procedures or not? Answer the question at the bottom. All right. This emoji is using safe procedures. You will notice he is wearing his eye protection. Next up. This gentleman here, is that a safe way, a safe thing to do in a lab? Answer the question at the bottom so I can know what you're thinking. This is not safe. It is very obvious that he is eating. You should never eat in a lab. Next, we have this girl here. Is she safely doing an experiment? At the bottom, true or false? Be careful. This one, she is not safely conducting this experiment. Yes, her hair is back, all right? However, you notice here, she's working with chemicals and she is not wearing eye protection, right? This is a time where eye protection is needed because she's working with chemicals. She's not using it. So it is false. She is not safely doing this lab. Next up, take a look at this picture, see what's going on here, right? Do you think this boy was following safe protocols or following directions of the lab? Tell me at the bottom, true or false. All right, so this one is true. He is doing what was being asked. If you remember, I said if there is an accident, tell your teacher immediately. So that's what he is doing here. The backstory is he spilled something in his lab and he went to tell his teacher immediately. So even though there was an accident that happened, he might not have been using caution, he is telling his teacher immediately. So it's true, good safety procedures. Next up, caution, lab experiment in progress. Tell me, true or false at the bottom. Is this safe or is this not safe? This is safe. Obviously, it's the very first one. They're using caution. Next, tell me at the bottom. Is she doing this correct, her lab correctly or not? She is not doing her lab safe. Right now, her hair is down. It looks like she might be in the process of putting her hair up, but we're going to pretend that the picture is just right now, her hair is down, so it is not safe. Next, is this girl correctly doing her experiment? True or false at the bottom? It is true. She both has her hair back and she is wearing safety goggles. She is protected. She's using caution. She is good. That is true. Can't see her sleeves, but I would guess that her sleeves are rolled up as well. Next up, what do you think? True or false? Is this safe? This is not. Clearly, whoever was conducting this experiment was not using caution, and we're going to pretend that this is not safe because they just kind of left the spill. They didn't pick it up. They didn't go to tell their teacher, right? They tried to hide it. Next up, is this girl conducting a safe lab experiment? True or false? Tell me at the bottom of the page. It is true. You will notice her hair is back. She is wearing goggles. Her sleeves are rolled up. She is following the teacher's directions, whatever they may be. This girl is true, conducting a correct experiment. And this is the last picture I have for you today. Good or bad, true or false? False. This is not safe lab procedures. Clearly, this is a broken beaker that whoever was using it was not using caution. Right? Let's get back to the screen. All right, that is all I have for you today about safe science procedures. If you have any questions, please reach out. I will also have a short quiz for you, just like I did last week, just with some questions about science or lab safety. So go on and do those and check out the social studies videos that's posted as well. You all have a wonderful day.